Geechee culture is rich in cultural activities. It's a way of life. It's how we make it. It's about respect for each other. It's in the food, the artwork, the language we speak among each other, everything we do in our daily lives. That's what the culture is. It's an awesome way of life.
Sweetgrass came about because our ancestors made them across the water. I have been making sweetgrass baskets for the last 36 years. Wherever they could make them, they made them to use as utilitarian purposes, which they collect the rice, they collect the fruits, they collect the vegetables, and anything else that they can collect in those baskets. And the sweetgrass is the grand prize. Sweetgrass was not only used for baskets back in the day, they actually used to use them to make brooms. Sweetgrass is soft wild grass that grows out in the forest under pine trees. How do I know? Because I still go out and harvest it. I am preserving our culture. When I first started, it was like, oh, I'm taking this stuff that looks like this, and I'm turning it to something beautiful. You could create what's pretty much sometime in your mind as an art piece.
Sharing the art and the visuals of Gullah Geechee culture, I think, is very expressive and shows who we are and deeper meanings as well. My artist perception and how it's connected with Gullah Geechee culture is so astounding because of that blue. Blue is a very powerful color. You really see it throughout the culture. I mean, from the blue bottles to haint blue painted on the top of the porches. And that indigo, I feel, definitely represents resilience. I think it's important to note out that indigo was a process before colonization, brought here to this area and used during that time to make a profit. Eliza Pinckney is known for the indigo boom in South Carolina, right? But as we would know, those who were enslaved under her were the ones who, the true knowledge keepers of how to cultivate this plant. It's a very beautiful process, creating the indigo and create the vats. We used a lot of West African techniques with sewing and weaving and binding to create our resist. The folding techniques, of course, we utilize with the rubber bands. That technique is fun too, to get that resist. It is a difficult process to harvest the plants. The land is very important. I think that's one of the centralized focus, even when we're talking about Gullah Geechee people, when we're talking about even placement, right? And we're talking about even the history of the transatlantic slave trade. And then we're talking about even stabilization in here in the area and the remnants of Africanisms that are found here in the area and through Gullah Geechee culture.
You know, you respect the land, you respect the animals, you use things that you need. You leave stuff for another time. Most of the people here on the island, the little community that we were in, everyone knew everyone. Everyone ran around and we played and we went from house to house. At one point, the oceanfront property was given to all the blacks or the Gullah Geechee people because it wasn't good to grow, you know, any of the food that they needed, or the cotton, the peas, or the stuff that they grew. But once they found out how good, how the waterfront property, and they wanted the nice marsh and the waterfront houses, then now the property was taken away, or they swapped the property, gave all us the property inland, and they kept all the waterfront property. If you can't afford to pay what that heirs portion is, then you lose your property. And that's why it's so important to make sure that every heir knows the importance of the property.
The land is taken away, and then culture is slowly wiped and taken away.
So it is a decline in habitat, and the reason for the decline in habitat is because of development. So much developments, and when they go in, they don't care what they find. They just dig it up, tear it up. There was a place over in Kiowa Island, and it was so much grass, but they only gave me a few days to get as much as I could. And it's sad because now it's a building.
I do see a decline a little bit because these fields that they just think is just, they don't know, they're not. People, I wish that the people that go and knock these things down, could take a little botany class for a little bit, you know, just a little, so they can have an idea, like, oh, this is treasure. They wanted to widen the road, and they just chopped everything down. They gut everything and just start pouring cement, and I couldn't do nothing with it. I just try to do a thing now where I go, I get the seeds, and I just, you ever see a guy who like the wild native plant or flower guy, but he'll go out and just throw them, and then I try to do things like that. And it's a hit or miss, but it could hit, it could grow, it could take on a new life, a new little area where it could stay and establish ground. So I try to make different spots to kind of fight back, show a little resistance with what we're going through. But I now understand when I actually hear like indigenous cultures or, you know, native cultures cry even about their food or their medicine getting burned down just for golf courses. I understand now because sadly I had to learn because it affected me. Now, that's how humans are. I wish it wasn't like that, but I had to understand it because it started to affect me. The plant is not gone, you just have to look for it. It's hiding. Nature is intelligent. The plant is still here. It's still here. Just gotta look for it.
Outsiders wants to come in and change things for us, but we prefer the way it is. I don't think we get enough recognition as Gullah people. We want the recognition too for the things that we have done, what we are continuing to still do.
A lot of people, I mean, even if they leave, they know that they have a home to come back to. They know that this is my grandmother's land, my grandfather's land, you know? It's very important and it's very interconnectedly tied to Gullah Geechee culture in so many ways that we could elaborate on for days.
Land is to us is life. We worked the land, we lived on the land. A lot of us died on the land. So that all of that is part of the culture.